We hope you guys enjoyed the new year, the holidays, and maybe even indulged a little bit. But the new year started, 2022 is upon us, and we're gonna hopefully help set you guys up for some healthy habits to take forward for the entirety of 2022. A couple things to touch on first. We're gonna go through everything in this video. If you guys have any questions, put those in the comments below this video, and we'll go through and answer those. And through the entirety of this challenge, if you guys have questions, put those in the Facebook group so that we can answer them hopefully one time and everybody else can see those as well.
We're going to talk about kind of a healthy lifestyle and healthy habits. So when we say healthy habits, a lot of times we make it more complicated than it needs to be. When it comes to healthy habits, we want to get enough good quality sleep for our hormones, for our mental clarity, for our body. We want to drink enough water throughout the day to make sure that we're hydrated and we feel really good. We want to eat whole, quality, good, clean sources of food coming from the different food groups: proteins, veggies, fats, carbs. And then lastly, we want to move and exercise. We all know you guys come to the gym, but a lot of times when we exercise, we do 60 minutes and that's the only thing, and some of it can be standing. So we want to be cognizant of how much are we moving outside of the gym? What are we doing the other 23 hours? And that's what our goal with this challenge is here to help you with.
Two ground rules that we want to kind of set up prior is, one, don't make this any more complicated than it needs to be. We're trying to simplify this so that it doesn't just last the duration of this challenge, but it's something you guys are able to take forward. It becomes just the habits that you have. We don't want this to be a diet or a challenge that once it's over, you guys go back to the way that you were eating. It's not supposed to be that strenuous. It's supposed to be maintainable so that we can maintain it past the challenge and just into our day-to-day regular life.
So let's go ahead, let's touch on this challenge. So we are gonna touch on lots of things from about how you do life, stretching, recovery, hydration. This is very similar to the challenge that we did last year with a few small tweaks, and we're also gonna tweak kind of the three approaches. So let's talk about the three approaches. We are gonna have a compliant and a non-compliant food list. I don't wanna say good and bad because I don't want you guys getting into that mindset, but for this challenge, we do wanna kind of cut those sugar cravings and we wanna start to clean up our diets in the sense. Good and bad is not a good way to look at food. So coming from that compliant list, it's gonna be linked in Wodify. We will also email that out to you with these details. So how it's gonna work is we're gonna start with the first pillar, which is gonna be our food and our nutrition. So we're gonna have three different tracks because we've heard a lot of you expressed interest in these three different tracks. The first one is going to be eating specifically from the compliant list. Compliant or non-compliant. It's that straightforward. There's gonna be a point scale in the Wodify Rise app, which we're gonna use like we used last year. If you eat all of your foods from the compliant list that day, you get 5 points. If you have one slip up, but you did really well the rest of the day, so one food came from non-compliant, you get 3 points that day. If you had more than one food coming from the non-compliant list, you get 0 points that day. Pretty straightforward. The second approach is gonna be the container approach, and that is also scaled on a 5-3-1 point scale. This year we are switching it up. What we're gonna do is, a lot of you struggle with eating protein, and protein's how our muscles recover. It's how we get stronger. It's how we build lean muscle mass. So we are gonna adjust the containers this year. Our protein is gonna go into our large container. It cannot be overflowing. It has to fit into the large container. So if I have a chicken breast goes right into my large piece. You guys can see this. Then the next two compartments are gonna be one for carbohydrates. So that could be oatmeal, that could be rice, that could be our fruit. Things like that are gonna go in the first small compartment. The second small compartment is going to be veggies. So any veggies, spinach. You can take out the carbohydrates and do a double veggie if you choose. Fats are just gonna go on top of the meal, and all of that's gonna be listed in the details, but fat, you're gonna get about 1 serving of fat, which is about your thumb, or think 1 tablespoon of fat per meal. If you are 175 pounds or more, you get 4 containers a day. If you are 174 pounds or less, you get 3 containers today. Yeah. You get up to 2 snacks, and we'll cover snacks here in a second. A snack is gonna be a smaller version of this. Again, filling this container with compliant or non-compliant foods.
Point on this, you guys don't have to actually eat out of this. It's a great measuring tool, but if you wanna put your food in, figure out what your portions are, and then eat on an actual plate, totally fine. And the idea for this in the long term is that you guys are able to eyeball what these portions look like, so you don't need this anymore. You use it enough times, you should be able to go to a restaurant, cook your own food, know what those servings should look like, and again, can take these habits into the future without having to carry one of these around.
So that's gonna be the container approach, and our goal is to help you eliminate mindless eating. So you're not just opening the pantry because you work from home and you're snacking, but you can visually see everything that you are eating throughout the day. The third approach is gonna be our macro approach. This is the one everybody's so excited about. I do like counting macros so that you have an idea of what's in your food, what the balance is that you're eating. Are you eating 80% of carbs through the day and 20% of fat? Are you eating 90% fat and 10% carbs and hardly any protein? This is gonna help you understand that. So you are going to need to download MyFitnessPal. It's very exciting. In the free version, they now give you macros. So when you download MyFitnessPal, I want you to go through, fill it out with your email, all the information they ask. How much weight do you lose? How quickly? I would suggest losing no more than 1 pound a week. I like the 1/2 pound a week so we can take small steps. And this is something that we can stick with and not just kind of do a crash diet. And I think you'll feel better inside and outside of the gym. From there, it's gonna give you your macros. I want you to go into the bottom where it says more. You're gonna select goals, and then you're gonna see it says nutrition goals. Right under nutrition goals, it's gonna say carbs, proteins, and fats. I want you to take each of those percentages to the following percent. I want carbs to be 40%, fats to be 30%, and proteins to be 30%. Save those numbers, and that's gonna give you your calorie breakdown and your macro breakdown. We're gonna use the MyFitnessPal app. How does this fit into the challenge? In the end, at the end of the day, I'm just gonna use really clean numbers to make this simple. Let's say these are not realistic. Let's say your goal is 100 grams of carbs, 40 grams of protein, and 40 grams of fat for the entire day. Hopefully that is nobody's, that is way too low. But if at the end of the day I look and I am at 102 grams of carbs, so only 2 grams over, I am at 41 grams of protein, only 1 gram over, and 40 grams of fat, right on. I would get my 5 points. If out of the carbs, protein, and fat, if one of those categories deviates more than +3 or -3, you now have had a minor slip and you get 3 points for the day. If, let's say, your carbs and your protein deviate more than 3 grams up or 3 grams below, so you've missed that 3-point deviation, and only the fats made it that day, you get 0 points. That was a major slip, no points for you today. So our goal is to get consistent with these macros. The macros, again, a lot of people are like, oh, I can have a piece of pizza, fill out my macros, or I can have donuts, I can eat this Frosted Flakes cereal because I can just scan it and my macros are there. No. If you do not eat from the compliant foods list for this challenge, and we want you to take that forwards, then you get no points. So everything has to come from that compliant food list.
So if you guys are curious about counting macros or maybe need to brush up on some of the details, we'll attach a link below. We already put something together, a complete guide on how to count macros. You will need a scale, but if you guys are curious or want to see that, check right below this video and you'll be able to see a detailed version of that.
I got my food scale from Target for about $19. Doesn't have to be the most expensive scale. All you needed to do is count your grams or your ounces, and yeah, you're good to go. So not super expensive, and you can download the free MyFitnessPal. You can also do the premium, but that is the general idea for our 3 food approaches. Next, let's talk about the Wodify Rise app. We run many challenges in this app. So each day you log in, you're gonna have 4 pillars. The first is food, which we just talked about. The second is gonna be sleep, sleeping 7+ hours. So that is the night before sleep. Okay, when we say sleeping 7+ hours, that means in bed, lights out at 10 o'clock if you are gonna be getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so if you miss it by a couple minutes, fine, whatever, but aiming for 7 hours of sleep. So that's gonna be pillar number 2. Every time you do that, you get the points in your Wodify Rise app. The next is gonna be water. So drinking the recommended water that is in the Wodify Rise, that's really hard to say over and over. Wodify Rise app, if you drink that water, you get those points for the day. The last one, this is new this year. Instead of doing 60 minutes of exercise, we are gonna do a variable point scale for movement. So 10,000 steps a day will get you 5 points. 6,000 steps a day will get you 3. Anything less than 6,000 steps a day gets you 0 points. So we are combining all of these little challenges that we've run that you guys have done so well with into one big challenge. And those are gonna be your 4 pillars.
And the goal for this is movement. So there's a lot of different ways to track it. If you guys have a Fitbit, a watch, whatever you want to use, you're welcome to do that. If you do not have one of those, you do not have to buy one. There are plenty of free apps. I think there's one maybe even installed. Is there?
In the health app on your iPhone, if you have it,
So-
it'll track your steps if you carry your phone with you every day.
You just got to make sure that it's turned on for tracking, and it will count your steps for the entire day. And that is fitness. So if you're doing anything else, whatever that number reads at the end of the day, that is your steps.
And that's a key point. I've had a couple people ask me, whatever the step tracker that you are using reads at the end of the day, if it is over 10,000, you get those steps. So if for some reason you ride your bike and it picks up on those steps, that will count. Our goal is movement outside of CrossFit class.
In the last piece, there's going to be challenges that you guys will receive within the Wodify Rise app. And these are things that maybe you'll learn that you like or do well for you that you can take forward. Now, there's going to be a multitude of different ones like stretching, mindfulness, some good habits. And hopefully through the course of this, you'll find some that work really well for you that can become daily habits for you.
So when he says habits, we mean daily tasks. So you will always have the 4 that we've talked about: the food, the water, the sleep, the 10K steps. There might be another one that pops up that day, and it should be something super simple. For instance, goal setting. There will be attached goal setting worksheet that we want you to fill out for that day. That one's not gonna reappear, that's just gonna be for that day. So the goal setting falls off. Another day might be a protein reading assignment, teaching you about protein. If you do that reading assignment, you get your points. This is all very straightforward in the app. It's all very drawn out, and we're really excited. We are gonna weigh you guys in and use the handheld body scanner at the gym this year. We didn't do that last year. So we will have a Google Drive sheet coming out to you where you will meet myself or Patrick, and we'll take care of that. We're gonna give you about a 3-day window to get that done. And then the same thing at the end of the challenge. There will be about a 3-day window to get the final results in. For this, that leads us into kind of how we're gonna calculate winners. So if you wanna be eligible to win, you have to do that weigh-in at the start and at the end for the body weight one. There's gonna be 2 winners. The first person is gonna be a percentage of body weight loss. So we know some people have more body weight to lose, depending. It's going to be the percentage with your starting and ending weight, your overall body fat percentage. Then from there, we're gonna do a task. All the tasks that you guys did point-based. So you guys know we have some really awesome prizes at the end of these challenges. Last year was Head to Toe Noble. So we will have 2 super awesome prizes.
We hope this has been helpful. You'll get all these details as well in the email. And again, if you guys have questions about anything in here, comment those below and we will answer those. Hopefully everybody can see those. And again, if you have questions throughout the duration of this, we're gonna answer those or ask those both in the Facebook group. We're excited for you guys. We're hopefully gonna set up some healthy lifestyle habits and eating habits that we'll be able to take for the long run, not just the duration of this challenge.